Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Concho Sports Insider. I'm your host, Zach Carlock. Alongside me over there on the far side over there, Arlen keeps coming back. Arlen, how you doing tonight?
I can leave.
You threaten that every week, but yeah, you still show up.
I still show up. I'm like a
I do too.
Lost dog.
Well,
You
I was just walking around outside, and someone said, "Hey, walk in here and do a show," and I went, "Okay."
Put on the headset.
If you
here you are.
insist.
That's it. So, a lot of things to talk about. Some things that have gone on. Some sports that have finished up.
Yeah.
Some unfortunate scores to give, I guess you'd say. Some good news to give.
Absolutely.
We're going to have some baseball and softball news. Those seasons are starting to really take off. District play starting to pick up in those sports. Track going on. Got some shout-outs. And some, I guess you'd say, national and state news out of West Texas.
A great news.
Yeah,
Great news.
a couple of good pieces of news out of West Texas. Not Concho Valley.
Depends on who you are a
Depends on
fan
who you ask
of.
of,
You know,
yeah.
if you're
You know,
who knows? But who is this in between us?
you tell me.
I don't remember.
Me neither.
Already?
Hey, some guy that just showed
Darn.
Some
up.
guy that just showed up. Speaking
get
of people that we
watching
just
the door.
found in the backyard.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
No, we got Paul
Yes.
here with us.
With the
and,
Standard Times.
with the Standard Times here in San Angelo, and he's got some good insights for us.
And he's got on a great shirt.
I know. I have to tell you, look, I love
appreciate
this
it.
shirt. I was always a fan of Rocky, and 4 was one of the best. Like,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know, Drago and all that. And what always cracks me up when I see Dolph Lundgren there, right, is I think about Bill Nye the Science Guy and how Dolph Lundgren is more qualified to be Bill Nye the Science Guy than Bill Nye the Science Guy is.
yeah.
right?
It
The
is
dude is
funny
so
how those
smart.
things work out, isn't it?
I mean, the man is so smart. He was a Rhodes Scholar. Like, he's super smart.
Yeah, super smart. And then did you see him now?
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
looks like he's a little shriveled up guy.
Well, I mean, but he's
He
still
still
pretty
knock
bad
you
dude.
through a wall.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight him.
No,
I mean,
me either. No.
but no, a lot of good things going on out here in the Concho Valley. Paul, tell us a little bit about what's wrapping up for us. Well, a couple seasons have wrapped up in this area.
Yeah. So soccer, unfortunately, is over for all of our. Really, it's just San Angelo because
Yeah.
again, it's only 6A, 5A, 4A.
Right.
So soccer is unfortunately up for all of us. This Tuesday it happened. Both the Central teams lost up there in Abilene, and then Lakeview is actually playing in Midland against Decatur. So we have those 3 losses to cover, and then that wraps up winter. Winter
Yeah.
sports are over, and you can definitely feel it with the temperature change outside. It's getting a bit
It's
warmer.
starting to, yeah.
On my way over, I saw potentially some rain clouds. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know how true this is. I think they said it was 50% chance, but we'll see. Hoping and
hope,
praying.
right?
Yeah,
I can hope.
exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
we always laugh about, my uncle used to say, we got about 3 inches of rain. There were 3 drops, and they were about that far apart.
So now we already know last week we covered the Lakeview boys suffering I guess you'd say devastating loss out of the El Paso team and penalty kicks.
Yeah.
I love when a game comes down to penalty kicks. So that means the game has been highly contested the
Yes.
whole way. But I hate to see a team I'm pulling for lose on penalty kicks.
Yeah, and that's part of the devastation of it's like watching a good basketball game or a good football game. You just don't want it.
Yeah, you just don't want to see
You
it.
don't want to
Yeah.
see somebody lose.
Yeah.
And that's the bad part of that. But that's also the part of, we talk about in football and in basketball that there's 3 seasons.
Yeah.
That preseason, that pre-district alignment, then there's that district, and then there's the postseason. And that postseason, you get into it, each week gets harder and harder
does.
and harder, and each team builds on that, and that's what happened with, you get into those penalty kicks.
Well, not only that, Paul, you and I talked last time when you were here that, those teams out of El Paso, they can play some soccer.
Yes, yeah, they always present a tough challenge, and it truly is, it's tough for the Chiefs getting that loss. I know they had really been looking forward to getting past that hump, getting over that first game in the bi-district round, and then seeing what can happen in area. So I know it's really tough for Coach Jones and those guys out there. But again, last time we talked, we mentioned how young that team is.
Yes.
They're a very young team.
They'll be back.
Yes, they got a lot of people coming back. They have a great program, great foundation. So, it's that week you end up going 3 out of 4 for teams. Unfortunately, one team, is the one going home. But again, it was still a very competitive game, and that's all you can hope for.
Now, I don't want to take anything away from the Chiefs. I mean, they still got a gold ball for that district championship.
Right.
Exactly. And a 16-0 season.
And a 16-0 season. That's a big deal. The girls did not have a district championship gold ball, so they had to go get one of their own.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about it.
Exactly. So the girls, they had to.
The maidens.
Yes, the maidens, they had to go out and win that one, and again, like we talked about, anybody, I felt like anybody, all 4 teams could come out with a win, and the maidens did it. They came out with the win, and then they end up going to the area round, and they play a really tough Decatur team up there in Midland, and it's a tough environment out there in Midland, playing in that stadium, and I know a lot of these West Texas teams are really comfortable with playing on turf, but it's such a big stadium, and unless you're playing on one of those smaller fields, but when you're in that big stadium, it's empty. You can hear everything.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, they end up taking a tough loss to Decatur there. They got down early, and it kind of just snowballed a little bit on them. So, unfortunately, they got their bi-district trophy. A lot of people, hadn't picked this team to make it that far or get to that point. So, kudos to them for getting to that point, and congrats on a great season.
Absolutely. No question about it. And speaking of great seasons and turning things around, how about the Lady Cats? Had to go out and get a gold ball of their own. And no offense to the girls, the coach told us themselves, not making the playoffs might have been a possibility for them because they were growing, but then they make it and go get their own gold ball.
Yeah, again, Coach Gonzalez's first year. It's always tough whenever you, come from. He came from Lakeview and comes here, and they lost a lot of talent last year. They had three girls go on to play college soccer
and that's
last
impressive.
year. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of talent to turn over, and in a slightly different scheme that Coach Gonzalez is running there. They worked for it. They fought for it. They clawed for it. They get the win, the bi-district win, and again, they just, we'll talk about the boys later. It was sort of mirrored games a little bit, where they played this great first half against Keller Central up in Abilene at ACU, and just they I don't know if it was. I don't want to say overconfidence, but they were feeling themselves. They felt good. They'd really played a great half. They'd given themselves opportunities. They had, taken away some opportunities from Keller Central, and those DFW teams. Anytime they get an opportunity to score, likely they're going to score.
Yeah.
So they played a really tough game, and unfortunately just come out with the 0-2 loss, giving up the 2 goals in the second half there.
Sure. And that's now I know that hurts, but that team again. Young team.
Yep, exactly.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
And having to learn a new system.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that, you see that first-year coach coming in, and you're putting in new things.
Yeah.
You're putting in new ways to pass the ball, to look downfield, and it's only going to be better. The future's only bright for them.
No, absolutely. And what they have, 1 or 2 seniors that they graduated?
I believe it's 2.
Yeah.
If I'm correct off the top of my head.
And a freshman, if I remember right, a freshman goalie maybe, I think, or sophomore, something like that.
Sounds, young goalie.
Young goalie.
Yes.
So a lot of growing going to occur there in that program. They're only going to get better from here, and the experience of being able to get into that playoff environment, win a game, and lose a game, it's going to carry with those girls, and they're going to come back real hungry next year. Might even get to see them vie for a district title next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably could, and you see that winning in the playoffs, winning in district tastes one way, winning in the playoffs tastes another way.
Yeah, it does.
Losing in the playoffs tastes another way.
Very different. Yeah, it sure
but
does.
once you get that taste of winning, you want that all the time. It's like a really good burger. You want that burger every day.
Absolutely.
Just about. Yeah.
Now, talking about gold balls, hey, the Cats went out and got 2 of them this year, winning the district title.
Yes. Yeah, first time in a while they had won a district title, and I believe it's Coach Vu's 7th during his time here. So, even though Coach Vu's been here a while, he's established
25 years.
Yeah, 25
25 years.
A little while.
Yes,
little bit.
A little while. He's been
half
here a
a
little
century.
while.
Or a quarter century, sorry.
Like 25 is a quarter.
Yeah, no. Well, in
Anywhere I've
today's
ever
math,
been.
Well,
true. Yeah, and then again this is where he graduated from, was
Sure.
Central. So he knows
Homegrown.
West Texas. He is homegrown. A lot of these coaches here are. Coach
Sure.
Jones went to Central as well, and then obviously coached under Coach Vu for a year before getting the Lakeview job. But yeah, no, the boys they get that district championship, and then they win their first by-district game. In stunning and not so stunning fashion,
Sure.
kind of the way that they've done things is they'll score, and then they just keep people out of the net, and that's how they won. Get that by district.
Unfortunately, in the area around, they run into a really strong South Lake Carroll team.
Yeah, it seems to be a little bit of a wall for a lot of these.
A lot of teams run into a wall against
Yes.
South Lake Carroll in any sport.
Exactly.
Let's just be honest.
It's one of the most accomplished programs in Texas.
Yes.
So anytime you have to run into them, you want to run into them later, and unfortunately, Central just kind of keeps hitting them in that area around, and it's tough for them. But yeah, they a lot like the girls. They played great defense. They made opportunities for themselves in that first half, and then I was talking to Coach Vu after the game, and they just had a couple mental lapses there in that second half, and you could really tell that South Lake Carroll had ramped up the intensity. They started to win those 50-50 balls.
Yeah.
They started to win those fights for possession, and kind of just got a couple of opportunities. Fifi Adamayo is the player who ended up scoring twice for South Lake Carroll, and that was the guy that they wanted to stop. And sometimes great players just make great plays, and
that's it. Great players make great plays. I love the way you said that.
exactly.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes there's just nothing you can do. The ball doesn't bounce your way, as they say. So it's a little bit different situation from the girls. Again, they've got 16 graduating seniors, so it's going to be a bit of a loss for them. But again, if Coach Vu's shown anything over his time here at Central, is that he can build a program up and keep them competitive.
Yeah, and kudos to them. So I believe I'm right on this, that it was 2013 when they won their last first round game.
Yes.
So 12 years?
I mean, you did something.
You did something. Yeah.
And even though you graduate all these seniors, you have to realize too, the younger players are seeing those seniors, and the younger players want to continue that legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of times those younger players, and it's not like Central is a 4A school that's only got 700 players to pull from.
Right.
They got about almost 5 times that to pull from.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Precisely.
So, they're gonna, it's not like they're pulling from a limited pool.
Yeah, exactly.
Of talent. So
yeah, and they a couple of years ago, I think 3 years ago, 2021, 4 years ago.
I bet that's
4 years ago. Yeah.
Ooh,
I don't want to
flies.
correct you on that.
Yeah. Time flies. But yeah, so 4 years ago, they were a one-win team, and they have really in these past 4 years built this program up to be once again just in the district title race and vying for a chance. I mean, really, they did have all the chances in the world to get past South Lake Carroll and move on to that next round. And unfortunately, like I said, the ball just didn't bounce their way, and sometimes that just happens.
Well, sometimes you get in your head in big games like that against teams you've had that struggle against. Sometimes you just get in your head, I can't do this, and even though you do think you can.
And especially somebody like South Lake Carroll, who historically has been good in
everything they play.
We talk about them being good in everything that they play. Yeah, they're good in everything they play, and they don't rebuild; they just reload.
Yeah.
So, and
that's
they
what
did
happens
the same
when you come from that area.
That's right. You've got a great group to pull from, and a lot of kids, want to play there.
Yeah.
It's not like they just kind of go, oh, well, I've got to sit around and watch TikTok.
Yeah.
They want to come and they want to, and things that people that aren't coaches or haven't been athletes or haven't been involved in any UIL is you have to be committed.
Yep.
It's like the young lady from Monterey that we talked about.
And we'll talk about her in a little bit.
That we'll talk about. You have to be up at 5 a.m.
Yes, you do.
You have to be shooting those free throws. You have to be kicking.
But Coach talked about that when he was on our program with the coaches show. He talked about his kids. They're beating him to the gym sometimes, and they're beating him to practice and stuff. And I mean,
yeah, there is no lack of work ethic from West Texas athletes.
No.
In my limited time here, going on almost 3 years now, it is pretty remarkable how much these kids care and how hard they work.
Yeah.
And it's coming from the DFW area, they have more resources to work
Sure.
with. They've got more established cultures, again, with South Lake Carroll being the culture that they have.
Yeah.
They win. That's what they do. They expect to go into every single game winning. And Central and some of these teams out here, it's been a while since we've won football championships and things like that. So I believe they're on the track to winning.
No, absolutely.
And the infrastructure here now I think is a bit stronger.
But I'm going to tell you something I'm starting to see with Central is, we meet with Coach Smith once a month. We do the coaches show. Met with him all during the fall, and just like you started seeing with the football, started winning more this year. Different culture, different work ethic from the kids, like get on board or get out kind of thing. And you're starting to see that translate not just in football, but across the whole spectrum of sports at Central.
Yeah.
And a good athletic director is going to do that for your teams because they're starting – he doesn't just sit there and concentrate on his football team.
Exactly.
He's told us he goes out to all the different teams and he visits with the kids and he encourages them. And, I mean, a good teacher, a good athletic director, a good coach, they're going to start building and winning programs even if they're not directly coaching the kids.
Yeah.
We're starting to see that at Central.
Yeah, one of the first people I saw at the soccer game up at ACU, Coach Mark Smith. He's there.
Yep.
He's there. He's there at all of those games.
He is.
I talk to him all the time, and that is something that you want from your athletic coordinator.
Yep.
Is you want them to be at every single game and supporting the kids want to see him, the teachers want to see him, the community wants to see him. They want to know that you care, and he 100% cares.
Yeah, and don't think the kids don't see him. They do see him.
Yes.
They do, and he's not only that. I've heard people say, oh, well, he's, at the basketball games. And he's talking to kids, and he's walking down the halls talking to kids and getting them fired up. I mean, if nobody's ever met with Coach Smith, all you got to do is spend about 5 seconds with the man,
5 seconds,
and
5
I'm
minutes,
ready to go play football
I'll
for
run
him.
through a wall for him. Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
It's like some
I'll
of the
probably die,
commanders.
but I'll do it.
we die, but it's like some of those commanders you and I had in the military that, hey, I'm going to take a battalion to hell. Let's go. Okay, let's go.
I had
yes,
a couple
sir.
of commanders like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and Coach Smith's that way, and not only that, Coach Jones is that way. Coach Vu's that way. And gymnastics, they're always good. Swimming, always good.
And I think that's the thing is we're starting to see that shift in Central sports.
Yes.
Success breeds success. That's just bottom line.
Yeah.
To it.
Yes.
Success breeds success. And we're starting to see that. Like, we're not seeing everybody win a district championship yet. But we're
close.
seeing everybody fight for it.
It's close. Yeah.
Well, and for instance, I read just the other day that Brownwood, I think it's their girls team or it's their boys team, is like 6-11-2. They're still playing, and they're going on to the next round of soccer.
Yeah.
But they've only got 6 wins. But you know what? They're still playing,
Lady
or
Cats,
9 wins, something
Lady
like
Cats
that.
made it to the second round with 6 wins.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what your record is once you get into the playoffs.
How'd you get to that record?
How'd you get there?
That's what matters.
And who'd you play? And we talked about that last week, how you want to play stronger teams at the beginning of the season to get you ready for district so that, you may come in with that 5-11 record or something, but you made it to the playoffs. Let's go.
So I want to just say, first of all, before we move on, because we got to talk about some powerlifting.
Yeah, powerlifting.
So congratulations to all those teams. Every one of our teams here in the Concho Valley in soccer taking home a gold ball. 2 for Central Boys, the Cats. Now, we do have some news for some powerlifting. Some good stuff going on in powerlifting as they finished up.
Yeah, exactly. Last time I was here, it was girls powerlifting, and again, it's not a UIL sanctioned sport, so they kind of do things a bit differently. Now it's the boys. 2 weeks after the girls. Congrats to El Dorado's Jason Santeliano. Excuse me. He won the Division 4, which is the smallest division. Right. That's you're gonna have your 1As, your 2As in there. Mm-hmm. He won the 198-pound weight class with a total weight of 1,630 pounds.
1,600 pounds.
Boy was lifting, and what class it was? 138?
198.
198.
Yes.
He's not a big boy, but he ain't a little boy either.
I ain't gonna mess with him.
No.
Yeah. He was on my All West Texas first team as a defensive tackle. I mean, he has been a stalwart for that El Dorado program over there. So congrats to him, and congrats to all the people who competed. The team ended up finishing third as well. So
That's impressive.
Boys and girls side for El Dorado, they've got great powerlifting program down there.
Lakeview had a young man that did well as well. Took
Packard.
Third. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Ethan Packard. He won. He got fourth place.
Fourth place. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was up in Division 2. He ended up getting fourth place in the 132-pound category with 1225 was his total weight that he lifted.
Not shabby.
Not
shabby.
Not at all.
And he was the one I was thinking of, the 132.
Yeah.
Class.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So some good stuff coming out. We had, you had a state record set in the girls' side. You had a state champion out of El Dorado on the boys' side. A lot of good things going on there, and just some other anything else to throw in there.
Yeah, we got some other great performances. So Sonora's Jorge Lija placed second in the 123-pound weight class with 11:45. Miles's Ethan Crouch was third in the 148-pound class, and his teammate Ryan Stapehoodle, I believe I pronounced that correctly. I'm sorry, Ryder, if I pronounced that incorrectly. I'm sure Coach might message me after this and say, tell me how to pronounce it. But he finished fourth in the 132-pound weight class with 11:30. And then Reagan County's Ruben Bernal, also with a fourth place finish in the 165-pound class with a total weight of 1385.
Yeah, it's a lot of podium walkers because you get to stand on the podium top six. And
yes.
Yep.
That's a lot of people standing on the podium out here in West Texas and Concho Valley area.
Well, and we may have to do like next year, do an all-state team or an all Concho team.
An all Concho. I like that. An all Concho team. Maybe we can get someone to put something together for us for that.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to take us to our first break. We're going to take a break here for a minute, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what should be a national holiday and celebrate some great sports things going on. So stay with us. We'll be right back with Concho Sports Insider here on Concho Sports Network, powered by Pixelcast Media.
Check out why First Community Federal Credit Union is the #1 local auto lender in the Concho Valley.
With great low rates on new, used, and refinance autos, we can save you money. First Community has great payment options and low prices for GAP, extended warranty, and credit life insurance, so we can make your payment fit your budget. So be smart, bank smart, and contact First Community for your auto financing needs.
Pain is never planned, and recovery time is never convenient. But the last thing you want to do is wait for answers. At Angelo MRI, you are more than a number. We can get you results within 24 hours at a price you can afford. So when you need to get back into the game fast, tell your doctor you want to go to Angelo MRI. We hope you don't need us this season. But in case you do, remember, it's your health, your choice, your MRI.
Damon Bell Photography and Drone Services for all your photo and video needs. Call 325-245-9663. Oh, and we also do sports. Call today.
All right, folks, welcome back to Concho Sports Insider, and now for my favorite part of the show. Hey, Arlen, I got to tell you, Arlen and Paul, I think today should be a national holiday every year, no questions. I don't know why it's not yet.
I completely agree with you. Opening day.
Opening day. You say what you want about the NFL, the NBA, the NHL. The opening day of MLB should be a national holiday.
Could not agree with you more. It is one of my favorite days of the year.
I should not have had to go teach students today. That being said, now that my rant's over, let's talk about some Concho Valley baseball and softball.
And Wall. Is anybody going to stop Wall?
I do not think they are right now. I think Clyde's going to give them a shot.
I don't know.
Clyde's playing pretty well.
They are just playing some great ball. And, not just like we talked about last week.
They're run ruling everybody.
That's what I was about to say. They're run ruling everybody.
Yeah,
they're not even – and 3 players out of Wall were the big country top players of the week.
Yeah. Yes.
3. Yeah. Not one that stood out. 3 different ones.
Yeah.
And we had their names, and I lost them whenever we I looked something else up.
Let's work a little backwards here. We're going to get to baseball. Let's talk about some softball, though. We got a couple of 2A districts going on right now. In 5-2A, we got Reagan County leading that district 4-0, but following up right behind them, Wink and Forsan sitting at 3-0 each. Fort Hancock, nothing there. Ozona and McCamey sitting at 0-3 and Van Horn at 0-4 in that district. Reagan County really looking like they're trying to run away with that district there.
Yeah, I mean, they're currently 14-1 overall, and they picked up their first 4 wins. My bad. First 4 wins in a district. They run ruled McCamey, and then both against Van Horn as well, scoring 20 runs in both of those. So they're off to
a lot of runs.
Yeah, they're off to a blazing start, and they've got a great program out there.
Yeah. Looking at 6-2A, you got a little more closer to home here. You got Cristobal sitting at 3-0, Sonora 2-0, Colorado City 1-0, El Dorado pulling up the rear 0-2 with Miles right behind him at 0-4. Very unusual to see Miles at 0-4. Miles not that far off of a state championship several years ago.
Yeah, it's part of early season, early district season, softball, baseball. Got to find the lineups that work for you. And, I think Miles is in that process. And, sometimes, you can go from having a state championship year to being last in district. And sometimes you're right in the middle. And, Miles, I'm sure is, just like at this point in the season, still hunting for a playoff spot like everybody else.
So that's 2A softball. Looking at 3A softball, Clyde sitting at 7-0, Wall 6-1, real tight right there. 7 games in. Tuscola, Jim Ned sitting at 3-2. Sweetwater holding on right now to that last playoff spot in that district at 3-4. Merkel trying to catch him at 2-3. And TLCA and Grape Creek sitting at 0-6 and 0-5 respectively.
Yeah, that Wall loss was at Sweetwater as a 14-12 loss. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
One that you definitely want to come away with.
That's Sweetwater for you though.
But that is Sweetwater again. They're coming down from 4A, so they're a much larger school than Wall.
As they were one of the smaller 4As that came down to 3A. But they were still usually a pretty good 4A team that would go deep in playoffs at 4A.
Well,
so to see them make noise at 3A is not surprising.
And they're just like Southlake. They're good at anything.
They do. They seem to be,
Yeah, and the fact that they came down, put
a lot of fear in some 3A teams.
It did, and there's a lot of 3A schools that are going, hey, this next alignment, can we move them back up?
Yeah. It's not going to happen. I hate to tell you that. Their enrollment's still down.
Down, and I think it's going down.
But hey, that's okay. Moving up to 4A. Now, this is the district I love. Just because I came from Snyder before I came here. But that district's got some.
Yes.
They're about to get real competitive in that district. Snyder taking the lead right now, 2-0. A team that went 4 rounds deep last year out of Snyder. Yeah. And 2 amazing pitchers on that team. The possibility of possibly playing at the state tournament this year. They've got a real good shot at that 4A state tournament.
Yeah, that area around Snyder, you got Snyder, Coahoma, obviously, of course, they're looking for another state championship, and then, you got Forsan and sort of up near Lubbock. A lot of really good baseball and softball teams come out of there each year.
Yeah, and Snyder being no different this year. Levelland at 1-1, San Angelo, Lakeview at 1-1, Big Spring at 1-1, Lubbock Cooper, Liberty at 1-1. So you got a big log jam right now in that district, and Lubbock Estacado at 0-2. Looking at overall records, though, you're looking at Level Land at 21-3. They've played a lot of games.
Yeah, that is quite a few games to play at this point in the season. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head how many games you're required to play in order to move on and get your district certification, but they may have already passed it.
Yeah.
So
we're done.
Yeah. So they're again, those teams up in that area, they really love this time of year, and again, props to Lakeview for getting that win against Estacado, 28-8.
Yeah, I saw that score, and even I went, whoa.
Well, and Lakeview having that new coach, Tony Cortez, coming in, the offensive coordinator from football has taken over, and one of his passions is baseball.
Yeah.
He and I talked. He's a Tarleton alum, and he and I talked.
He's always got to get that plug in.
I do. I always have to get it in.
You got to do it at least once.
He and I talked about baseball is actually one of his favorites and one of his loves.
Yeah.
So he's very committed to that program, and having that new blood in there has kind of turned things around.
It's making a difference over there, that's for sure. Softball is definitely seeing a resurgence over there. And that's not to say that Lakeview was ever bad at softball. Lakeview's always been pretty decent at softball. I mean, I know they always gave Snyder a run for their money.
Yeah, Lakeview's always has had good softball programs, competitive softball programs, and baseball programs. So they're definitely continuing that trend this year.
Definitely be interesting to see how that plays out over the course of the next week or two, how that district's going to start to take shape. For me, looking at this and knowing the programs, to see Snyder and Level Land on top right now in that district is not a surprise.
No.
But, there's some things about to take shape over there that we'll see what happens.
And that it is interesting. It's kind of funny. 4A is sort of an interesting classification.
It's always the most competitive.
Yes, it's very competitive, and the gap, I feel like, in school sizes is so large because you've got Lakeview, who's over 1,000, Big Spring over 1,000 kids, and then you got Snyder and Levelland, I think
under 700
kids. They're sitting around 500 something, 550.
Snyder's sitting at 693 and Levelland at 760, but still one of the smaller schools.
Yeah, exactly. So to have that big of a gap and still be so competitive. I mean, Snyder's football team is kind of in a rebuilding stage right now, but Levelland has got a good football team, and they've got really good basketball programs as well. So it's very, very interesting to see those 4A districts play out.
And I'll tell you, both of those teams, Snyder and Levelland, I'll tell you the difference that in that district over there is. It's a lot of the same things that make the good soccer programs here in San Angelo. You have a great rec program that these kids are coming through. Over there, those kids are playing for national titles at the Little League level year in, year out. Travel teams playing big time with Firecrackers and stuff like that, a Texas dominating team. All those kids are playing on those teams, and they're getting that experience. So when they come to high school, it's just plug and play. It is a next man up mentality over there.
It is,
and at both of those schools.
Yes. And you talk about you talked about Central having all those numbers to pull from for soccer. You don't have those numbers in those smaller schools. So you have to be a talented athlete to give your team some stamina, to give them some stability, and that's when you have to be. We talk about the football gods touching a kid or the basketball gods touching a kid and going, you're going to be a good athlete. That's what you have to have with those softball players. And you see those, I see those kids getting out of school at TLCA. They got their bats on their backs. They've got their bags. They're carrying, 3 backpacks. One of them's their softball bag. One of them's their baseball bag, whatever. That's the kind of commitment you have to have, and it's even more important at those smaller school levels.
Oh, no, absolutely. Looking at 6A here, Midland sitting at 2-0, tied with Friendship 2-0. Not a surprise there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the surprise I see. Midland Legacy and San Angelo Central sitting at tied for third right now at 1-1 each. Odessa and Odessa Permian at 0-2. Now, the thing that strikes me here, right? Mm-hmm. The two teams at 0-2 at the bottom of the district are the two largest teams in that district, two largest schools.
Yeah, that again is sort of the funny thing about these districts is you've got Central and Friendship are the two smallest schools, and then you've got obviously Midland and Legacy kind of in the middle there.
Yeah.
But those Odessa schools
teams
are big.
Well, and I think Permian. I was looking at the numbers. I wished I had them here with me, but I was looking at the numbers. I think Odessa's like number 7 in the state.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something like
And
that.
with enrollment
4,900.
Yeah, 4,900,
Yeah.
and then you got Allen up there at 7,000.
Well,
so,
But San Angelo Central is the smallest school
Yeah.
in that district, and they're sitting tied for third, and it's at 1-1. So that district's starting to take shape too. A couple of games over spring break. We'll start to see a little bit more as that goes on. Over the next couple of weeks. Any real surprises that you see here in these 4A and 6A standings, Paul?
Not too much. Central again. They played Legacy for that first game and won 8-3. So that was a really big get at Midland Legacy.
That's
so
huge.
That is going to pay dividends down the road. Those away games, any ones that you can steal, is crucial.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, Midland is a great program, and of course Friendship, as we've mentioned before, is going to be.
Friendship's another one of those big programs out of Lubbock, the LYS, Lubbock Youth Softball up there.
Yep.
That's just what they do.
Yeah, they're going to be competitive in every single sport.
So moving on to baseball. Looking at District 5 2A, you got Wink sitting at 3-0. Ozona, Reagan County at 1-0 each. Forsan at 1-1. Westbrook and Ira sitting at no games played, along with Fort Hancock. Van Horn 0-2. McCamey 0-3. Now it's interesting to note you have Westbrook and Ira in this district here.
Yeah, so they're actually
combined.
How they have it sort of set up is how they have it listed, at least, is that they're part of that 5-2A district. They're actually in their own separate 1A district.
Yeah.
So,
they're competing for the 1A slots, right?
They actually don't play at all. I don't know why they have it listed like that.
I was starting to wonder.
Yeah.
Either way, that's okay.
Yeah. So. They are not in this district, unfortunately. But yeah, no, Wink is again just one of those 2A programs, even though they're on the smaller side in everything. They usually play Division II everything, so they are just constantly competitive and always very good. And the surprise to me is I think Ozona is just having a pretty fantastic season.
9-3 overall.
Yeah, 9-3 overall, and they picked up 2 big wins against Reagan County recently, 15-2 and 7-2, and then they've got the win over Forsan as well. So they've really come out hot in this first part of the district here.
Yeah, looking at 6-2A. Cristobal, El Dorado, and Cristobal and El Dorado 1-0. Miles at 1-1. Trent, Rotan, Roby, Hermely, and Sonora listed there with nothing, and Colorado City 0-1 right now. This not a whole lot to really talk about in this district. They're just getting started. Not a lot to report yet. Just kind of waiting to see how this district starts to take shape.
Yeah, but you're looking there at Hermely at 3-2, non-district. And, we talk about that. Look at Cristobal at 6-7.
Well, the thing to remember about Hermely's coming off a state title.
Yeah, that's right.
They won 1A state title last year. Hermely's a good team.
So they are going to be in the hunt for that district. And it's not going to be – and Miles, it's like we talked about. Miles just trying to put together their team and their dynamics right now.
Yeah. Now, 3A softball. 3A baseball, sorry. 3A. Now I apologize. I said Hermely was on its district title. They won state title in softball last year.
Softball. Yep.
Not baseball.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Softball. Looking at the 3A. Wall and Clyde 6-0. Now
that is definitely something that you want to keep your eye on if you're a Wall Hawks fan. Is Clyde? Last year, actually, last year to the day. Opening day last year, I was out there in Wall, and Clyde came down, and I believe Wall run ruled them. 11-0, I believe, was the end score there, and the Wall team is coming in with a lot of confidence, as they should. I mean, they are the powerhouse in this area in their district, and I'm sure that they're just trying to continue to progressively kind of get their bullpen ready for the season to come.
I would be remiss if we didn't mention prior to the Merkel-Clyde series that Clyde swept Merkel this weekend. There was a death in the Clyde family over there, so from Concho Sports here, our hearts go out to everyone in the Clyde family. our prayers and hearts go out to you. But Clyde has another reason to play now.
Yes.
They've got a new thing added on to them, and I'll tell you what, man, when kids are playing for heart,
Yeah.
I never count them down. And Wall's playing good ball, but Clyde's just got another little reason to play their season.
And it's just that little bit of and they're going to be competitive. We're going to see them
Oh,
in
no,
playoffs.
that's going to be a competitive game no matter what you look at.
We're going to see them in playoffs. But it's that, like you said, that little extra spark, that little extra desire that gets it there.
Don't ever count that out.
And, Wall has historically been good at everything. Again, another team that we talk about doesn't
they were
rebuild.
Lone Star Cup
just
champions just not too long ago.
Yeah.
So they're going to be, man, they are also run ruling some folks.
Yeah, they are.
So I'm anxious to see that game.
So looking at the rest of that district, Jim Ned sitting at 3-1, Merkel in that 4th spot at 2-2, Sweetwater 1-5, San Angelo TLCA 0-4, and Great Creek sitting at 0-6. Could see a little bit of a fight between Sweetwater and Merkel for that 4th spot, but right now Merkel's got a pretty good handle on that 4th spot. We'll see how that Merkel Jim Ned series plays out.
Yeah, for
could
sure.
end up with a 30 spot there,
Yeah, and again, Jim Ned is another one of those programs. It's just it's a killer district. I mean, Wall's always got good programs. Jim Ned always has good programs. Sweetwater always has good programs. Clyde very recently has kind of had a resurgence in all of their sports programs. So it is very difficult to make the playoffs in this district. And TLCA and Grape Creek are, they can get to that point. It'll be tough for them, but they can definitely get to a point where they could fight for that 4th spot still.
Yeah. Well, and don't count out that Sweetwater team, even though they're 1-5 in district. Don't count them out.
No,
they could play spoiler and end up sneaking up into that 4th spot very easily.
Moving on to 4A, you got Lubbock Cooper Liberty 5-1, Lubbock Estacado 4-2, Lakeview Chiefs 4-2. So a little bit of a tie game going on right there with that team. Levelland 3-3, and pulling up the rear, Big Spring and Snyder 1-5. Very different stories from the last few years there in this district. That Big Spring and Snyder dominated for quite a while, several years, and now sitting at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, well, with the addition of Lubbock Cooper Liberty, those Lubbock schools, they just have great baseball and softball programs. So, with the addition of them, and then Estacado steadily improving, and then Lakeview.
Lakeview's playing great ball.
They're playing great ball right now.
Yeah.
They hit district and they get their 4 wins. Don't let that 4-14 record fool you. They clearly have been playing a lot better now the district has started.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you that right now, looking at that is a 3-team race for the district title.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care. That 5, you got a 1-game lead between the top 3 teams. That's a 3-horse race right there. Levelland's playing to keep that 4 seed right now. Maybe they can sneak up into a 3rd seed over somebody, but that's a 3-horse race right there for that 4A district title.
Yeah, agreed. And I think, you want to say, without being the homer here, but you would like to see Lakeview up there. I think you're going to see Cooper pull that out.
I think you will too. And Cooper just tends to have that on that boy side of their sports.
And they're a new program.
But Lakeview could.
But Lakeview
don't count them
easily could slide up in there. And Estacado just, 8-11. Don't let that record fool you either. That 12-9 record for the Lobos is something to be not sneezing at.
I'm going to point something out to you. If you take those standings right now and flip them over upside down,
that's what it usually
is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, a lot of graduation up at Big Spring, a lot of graduation at Snyder of great players that have gone on to some of who have gone on to the next level. And now you're starting to see these programs that have been playing together with young teams coming up. They're starting to take over. And, of course, adding in Lubbock Cooper Liberty this year.
And did we have coaching changes at Snyder or Big Spring? We didn't. Okay.
No. But another thing to look at with these standings, that one loss that Lubbock Cooper Liberty has to Lakeview.
Yep.
So if you're a Lakeview
come back
fan,
to haunt them.
Exactly. If you're a Lakeview fan, that is one thing to keep an eye out for. Now, again, you got some tough losses to Levelland and then a 6-7 loss to Snyder at home. You don't want to have those losses, but then, you turn it around, their most recent win, against Level-End at home.
Yep.
So, Lakeview, they really were trying to find themselves with Coach Cortez early in the season. And again, they went up to that Abilene tournament with just a ton of really killer teams. So, they struggled a little bit early on in the season, but now, as you can see, district, they've turned it on a bit.
Yep. Looking at 6A, District 2 6A, Wolford Friendship sitting at 3-0. San Angelo Central, the smallest school in the district, 2-1, along with the Odessa Permian. Odessa Broncos, 1-2. Midland Legacy, 1-2. Midland Bulldogs, 0-3.
Yeah, so a bit of a surprise here, seeing Midland at 0-3. Was not expecting that, considering their record.
14-5. I mean,
it's a very good record, and got a little bit of breaking news right now. Central is currently playing Permian right now, and it looks like they are trailing 4-2. But if those last two games against Midland Legacy were any sort of teller, they can win close games.
Yeah.
They won a close one against Midland Legacy. The two games were at home, 5-4 and 4-1. After really they got run ruled against Midland Legacy, that their first district game, had a really tough 14-1 loss, and then to be able to turn that around and flip that script and have two game back-to-back or doubleheader, on Friday of last week, and pull those two wins out is really big for them in this district race.
And they're not long balling it either.
No,
they're small ball.
5-4, 4-1, 2-4. Those are small ball scores.
Yeah. Their pitching's really. They're really getting that lineup set. They've got a really great group of pitchers right now. It's Castor Stribling, Coulter Farmer. Those guys are pitching really well, and obviously, Coulter is going to go play baseball at the next level up there at Vernon College. So, that Central team has plenty of talent, and it'll be great to see them kind of continue it and continue the rest of the district.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, that's kind of sad. That's baseball and softball in this area right now. But so with that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have some shout outs and some national and state news and just wrap this up. So stay with us. This is Concho Sports Insider on Concho Sports Network, powered by Pixelcast Media.
Check out why First Community Federal Credit Union is the #1 local auto lender in the Concho Valley.
With great low rates on new, used, and refinance autos, we can save you money. First Community has great payment options and low prices for GAP, extended warranty, and credit life insurance, so we can make your payment fit your budget. So be smart, bank smart, and contact First Community for your auto financing needs.
Pain is never planned, and recovery time is never convenient. But the last thing you want to do is wait for answers. At Angelo MRI, you are more than a number. We can get you results within 24 hours at a price you can afford. So when you need to get back into the game fast, tell your doctor you want to go to Angelo MRI. We hope you don't need us this season. But in case you do, remember, it's your health, your choice, your MRI.
Damon Bell Photography and Drone Services for all your photo and video needs. Call 325-245-9663. Oh, and we also do sports. Call today.
Check out why First Community Federal Credit Union is the #1 local auto lender in the Concho Valley.
With great low rates on new.
All right, folks, welcome back to Concho Sports Insider. It's going to be our last segment for the night, and we're going to talk some state and some national news, and then I'm going to hand it over to Arlen to talk about some kudos from our new site. He's going to talk about a little bit about that. But in some state news, now I'm going to talk about this, Paul. Don't worry, you don't have to say a word here. Looking at West Texas, reporter Pete Christie up at KCBD and the Lubbock News Station going to be honored as the TGCA Texas Girls Coaching Association as Sports Reporter of the Year.
Say that 10 times fast.
I cannot do it. He's going to be Reporter of the Year for as the honoree there. Big news coming out of Lubbock today with that. I've known Pete a few years, and there's not a whole lot of things that make him speechless. He can always talk, but when he got that call today, he was pretty speechless, he said.
That's cool.
That's
really
incredible
awesome.
news.
That is very cool. And to have that honor,
Yeah.
That's, it's a huge honor to be able to go, yeah, I was that. And one of our other friends up there at that channel, Shelby Rhodes, who came from here and went up there, is getting mentored by him.
Yep.
And, I'll call her one of my kids. She came here. We hooked up and ended up sharing, stats. And she texted me and say, hey, did you get that stat? Did you get this stat? So, kudos to her being able to sit up there and listen.
Yeah.
It's
that's a great person to be mentored by.
Yeah, to be mentored. So,
one of Pete's things that he always does is, he does a lot of praying with coaches and does a lot of dinners, giving out things that are needed for students, things like that. He does a lot of philanthropic things up there. But one of the things he does that I really love is on that show, he does a segment called Beat Pete. And he goes out to different schools in the area, and they challenge him to something that's common to their school. And it'll be the dumbest things like throwing lawn darts down the football field or something like that. But
javelin
I'll say this.
catching.
Well, I'll tell you this. Yeah, it's like they do crazy stuff sometimes. But it's fun to watch. But when it came to Sports Media of the Year, nobody beat Pete this year. He took
it's an
care of
incredible
business.
honor.
Yeah, and that's kudos to him. And, kudos to, while we're talking Lubbock.
Let's talk Lubbock.
Go ahead and talk. Go ahead
So,
and say it.
Aaliyah Chavez, we talked about it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
She had her announcement, and honestly, I think she kind of shocked the world a little bit.
I was sitting in my room, and one of my kids said it, and I went, what'd you say?
Yeah, I did too. I think kind of a little bit of a shock. A lot of people, I think, thought she was going to go to Texas or maybe stay home at Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech was a long shot, but being from Lubbock, it wasn't out of the realm. I know that University of South Carolina was in the running, but she chose to be a Boomer Sooner.
A Boomer Sooner.
Yeah, I don't want to give away too much. I've got a friend up there, Stephen Garcia, who works at the Lubbock Avalanche Journal. He is reported on Aaliyah now since she was in 7th grade.
Yeah, she's been. Everybody's been looking at her.
Everybody.
So yeah, he did a little bit of digging, and I know there was some news about South Carolina potentially. It came down to those 3 schools for Aaliyah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too.
I
know LSU kind of got in the mix a little bit and then got out.
Yeah, but I think it's always funny how those things kind of get over-reported a little bit. But usually your gut instinct, those first teams that sort of come into the mix, those are usually the ones that are going to stay in the mix unless something crazy happens. And
I'm going to tell you, out of Lubbock, Oklahoma, Texas, and Tech, that's where people want to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, I think it may even be a closer drive for her to go from Lubbock to Norman than from Lubbock to Austin. Yeah, it's a closer drive. So, more power to her.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, you start looking at that Oklahoma team and what they're bringing back next year and adding her in the mix.
That is going to be
They got 3 of the top 50
to
players in women's basketball coming into that team as freshmen, and they're bringing back they're fast.
They're gonna
Could be
put
a national champion.
Yeah.
soon.
Well, I was gonna say they're gonna put a hurt into the SEC.
They are going to make a difference in the SEC next year.
Yeah.
They are gonna make a huge difference.
That's our national and state news. Hey, Arlen, what's going on locally? What do we have? Kudos.
Well, you know what? Let's say kudos to Caleb Braden, Gunnar Dillard, and Garen Wiggins from Wall.
Yeah.
They made it to be the Big Country. What were they? Number
Country
1
Preps.
pick. Yeah, Big Country Preps. So kudos to them. And what are we talking? Catcher? You know it better than I do. Catcher, pitcher, shortstop?
Yeah, correct.
I think that's right.
You got it right on
Yeah.
the money.
Man,
Yeah.
Arlen, you got one. You're 1 for 1 tonight.
Hey, sometimes a blind squirrel finds a nut. So, and while we're talking baseball and we're talking boys, Stribling and kudos to Colton Farmer for signing to go to play ball at Vernon.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge honor. He did it before the season. He kind of just was like, "This is where I'm going, and that's what I want to do." And they got a great program up there. It's a lot like Luke Kemp for Wall going to Paris Junior College. There are plenty of great junior college baseball programs in the state of Texas, and especially in this sort of pseudo-North Texas-y area. Vernon's kind of a little bit more, that Red River area. But, kudos to Coulter for doing that. And, he's been having a great season and behind the plate and at the plate. So.
And I'm going to tell you something. When you look at baseball, I know everybody wants to go play for a UT and LSU, these big teams that are always powerhouses every year, and that's great. But I think sometimes the junior college players and the D2 players get overlooked because I'm going to tell you something. Those LSUs, those UTs, you know where they're looking for players? At junior
Angelo
college,
State.
They're
Angelo
looking. They're
State.
coming to Angelo State. They're
100%.
going to Vernon. They're going to Paris Junior College. They're looking in those places for those players who are standing out.
And now
Yeah.
with the transfer portal,
Oh, yeah.
You don't lose a day.
No.
you don't look at any of that. So another one, boys basketball. Shout out to Region 1 District 2A region semifinalist Miles.
Yeah.
That incredible. Thanks. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. I mean, outstanding season, and they got a gold ball.
That's it.
Yeah.
Got a couple of
Got a
them.
few of them.
Got a few of them. While we're talking basketball, Robert Lee Steers, congrats to Brenner Sherwood. He was selected second team Texas All Six-Man Coaches Association All-State Team.
Yeah.
Six-man All-State Team.
Yep,
Impressive.
Impressive. While we're also keep it Robert Lee, boys golf. Congrats to the Steers golf team. They placed third at the Maxwell Golf course with a combined total of 343. Not bad. Not bad. El Dorado.
I think I shoot that by myself.
I think I'm just lucky if I find the ball.
Well,
Yeah, right.
I go through a whole pack.
Hit the
I
ball
go-
is what you got to do.
Oh,
for-
that's how many golf balls you go through. The 343.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 342 of them are in the lake.
There you go.
Even if there's not a lake, I'm going to find one.
You're gonna find one?
I think it'd be cheaper. I just bought a pack of balls, walked over the lake, and just went here.
Just threw them. Yep. Okay, and tennis. The El Dorado Eagles competed in Reagan County tournament. Congrats to them. Don't have what they placed, but I know that they competed and they were there. I'm going to give a shout out to TLCA. Riley Honey, tennis, took home first place in the Reagan County tennis tournament. I believe that was last week. And you know anything about TLCA's tennis team? They're very young. They're very small. I mean, I think they have maybe 7 or 8 players. That's it.
Wow.
Riley is an incredible. He's one of my students. I've had him for 2 years. His brother was the quarterback last year.
Lane.
Okay.
And Riley is a quiet kid. You wouldn't know it, but he is awesome, and good job for him. One other thing that I've got is Central Golf competed in District 2A 6 meet and first place overall in the first round. And I know they have a second, and then Shay just handed me another Central.
I knew that's what he was going to talk about.
There you
I
go.
knew he was going to talk about.
Yeah, Gabriel Quiros.
Tell
is
us.
Tell
the
us, you're
District
doing it.
26A. Yeah, I guess I'm doing it. It's the District 26A MVP. Congrats to him, junior midfielder. He's one of those. Is not one of those seniors to leave. So he's going to be back again for this for next year's team.
And this is what I was talking about. You got those young players coming up, but you got the district MVP coming back.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That can be huge in the district like
Yeah,
that.
and another shout out in that same vein, Christian Vu, Coach Tony Vu's son, he was the defensive MVP.
Oh.
So a lot of
Congratulations.
awards coming out for Central Soccer out of for 26A.
Yeah, a lot of great things going on. I think the point that all these kudos show is there are a lot of great things going on in the Concho Valley.
Yes.
Folks, if you're watching, send us all those great things coming out of the Concho Valley. We want to talk about it. We want y'all to be a part of our show. I don't know about y'all, but this has been fun.
Yeah.
It gets better every week. Sorry, Paul.
Paul,
It gets
even
better
though,
every
even
week.
though Arlen forgot your name, Paul, it's been a blast.
Well, hey, listen, it's posted all over the internet. It's easy to find. So if you ever forget it, just look at the Standard Times website, and
It's right there.
right there.
Tell them.
Yep.
So-
My email, phone number. I'm easy to get a hold of.
So, folks, I think that's just about going to wrap it up for tonight. Congratulations to the gold ball winners in soccer, the placements in powerlifting, and all the kudos for tonight. Going to be neat to see next week how these districts start to shape out in baseball and softball. Maybe we'll start getting some track results in and things like that.
We have some track, but you know what? Let's save it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of great things going on here in West Texas and the Concho Valley. And so with all that being said, we'll just say from all of us here at Concho Sports, have a great night. Be safe. And this has been Concho Sports Insider on Concho Sports Network, powered by Pixelcast Media. Have a good night, folks.